My story starts way back in 1977. I think you need a little background about me, but I was a brand new nurse then. I was 21 years old. I was engaged to a brand new fireman. We were going to get married in a few months, and he suddenly gets killed in a line of duty fire. And it's not too far from here, over on the east side of Manhattan. So I'm 21 years old. Nothing bad had ever happened to me before, ever. And I don't know how to cope with this at all. I'm just, I go into shutdown. I stopped working. I was already a nurse. I stopped working. I stopped going out. I just didn't do anything. I was living home with my parents at the time. And I didn't do anything. I just was done. I felt like I was done. It was over for me. Life was over. And I really felt like that for a while. But time passed. My friends got me out. I went back to work. And normalcy started taking over again. And, after a few years, I started to date, always being careful never to date a firefighter or a police officer, or anybody an ambulance driver, anybody with any kind of lights and sirens situation. No. But what happens? About 5 years later, I meet a fireman, and boom, before I know it, we're engaged. We're engaged. 6 months later, we're engaged. My family and friends are mystified. They're like, how can you do this to yourself? How could you put yourself in this position again? Well, I felt like, and so did he, that he was golden, that this happened to me already. It would never happen to him. No way. There's no way. Not going to happen to me twice. So we get married. Everything is great. We're married for 18 years, like Judith said, and have 2 daughters. We bought a house in Staten Island, which is right across the water there. And everything was great. And he was always on the fire department, and he was he worked in this company called Rescue One, so he was a very dedicated guy. He was really, really a fireman, And he went to the 1993, the towers were bombed. The North Tower was bombed in 1993. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but it was bombed, and he went to that. And he was gone for a few days, and we didn't have a cell phone then, and I never heard from him. And he came back after a few days, and I really wasn't worried. I thought, he's fine. He's going to be fine. 1996, a plane went down off Long Island. He was a rescue scuba diver, and he had to go, and we had started a vacation, the 2 of us, that day. And he had to go. And he went off, and he was gone for a couple of days. That vacation was over, but he was gone for a few days. I didn't hear from him. Not worried, still not worried. That's what he was. He was just one of these people that I just felt like he knew what he was doing, and I was sort of his protector because I had been there already, so it's not going to happen to me. So now we're going to get to September 11th. So September 11th, like, was a beautiful day here. It was a gorgeous, sunny day. And he goes off to his class on Staten Island. He goes off to his class because he's a lieutenant. Now he wants to become a captain. He has to go to his classes. So he's gone. I take my kids to school. And it's a beautiful day, so I am a runner, so I go for a run. I put my headphones on, and my mother was very sick. My mother was, I worked in surgery at the hospital where I worked in Staten Island. And my mother was a patient of mine, basically. She had a brain aneurysm, 2 of them, and she was not doing well. September 10th, the doctors told us that there's nothing they can do for her. It's over. So my sister and my brother were, just accepting this fact that, okay, well, that's it, So September 11th hits, and I go for the run, and I'm running, and I have that little Walkman on. Everybody remembers those little Walkman, those little yellow things? I still have it. It still works. Not that I use it, but I still have it. And I'm running, and I hear a plane hit the tower, one of the towers. So I'm thinking, what happened? Now I'm thinking it must be the pilot must have a big problem. So I keep running. Again, well, this is concerning, but I keep running. And about 17 minutes later, it turns out I hear a plane hit the other tower. So then I know this is something really wrong. So I run back home. Like the rest of the population, I pop on the TV because I can't get the firehouse. Nobody's picking up the phone. And I pop on the TV, and I'm watching this. And it just didn't seem real, And I don't even know if I saw the towers fell or not. I don't remember. I was just like stunned. And so I called up my job because I work in surgery. So I thought, I'm going to have to go to work. I was on vacation that week because that was the first week of school. And I always took that week of vacation because my kids always had all these issues. Mom, I need this. Mom. So I always took that week off because I always had to take days off anyway. And I can't really do that in a hospital. You can't really just say I'm taking off today, It's too busy. So I'm watching the TV, and I don't really know what to do. I call my job, like I said, and they said, no, don't come in when, we don't need you. No one ever came to Staten Island. No one. There was hardly any survivors here, so no one came there. So with this, I'm still debating what to do. I go get waters. I think the whole city's going to collapse now. I go back home, and the school calls, and the school wants us to pick up the kids, the parents to come and get the kids early, of course. So I go to get the kids, and the way Staten Island is more hilly than over here, and I go up this huge hill, and when I go up this hill, you look out right to Manhattan, and the Twin Towers, they've always been there pretty much my whole life. They've always been there. I've never even taken a picture of them because I just assume they're going to be there my whole life. Well, they're gone. They're gone. And that's when it hit me that this is unbelievable. And all it just smoke and dust, whatever it was just going over towards Brooklyn. So now I go and get the kids. We go home. And I'm still not really worried. I'm still not worried, even though I can't get my husband, I can't get the firehouse. No one's answering anything. It's just nothing. And besides that, the communications were horrible in New York City after that because the North Tower had an antenna on it, and when that went down, those communications were done. So my kids and I were just calling hospitals. We just didn't know what to do. Well, soon enough, everybody in the neighborhood, my relatives, all started coming to the house. So we spent about 2 weeks taking in all these people with us every day, all night, and all this food. Everybody was just throwing it away because nobody could eat. It was just a terrible, terrible time. So one night, this was a terrible night. One night, 10 o'clock at night, and I finally got my kids to go upstairs and, brush their teeth and go to sleep. Now, they're 13 or 15. They're not like little kids, but still. They're still, unreasonable when they're teenagers, it seems to me. But I finally get them upstairs, and I hear a knock on the door, and I'm thinking, who comes to my house at 10 o'clock at night? Nobody. And it's 3 firefighters that I know from the firehouse. So I let them in. I think, this is bad. This is bad. They're coming here at night. Why are they coming here? They tell us to sit on the couch. I said, this is really bad. They're making us sit down. So I have one daughter here, one daughter there, and they tell us that this is no longer a rescue mission. It's a recovery mission. And the fire department language, that means that they consider dead, of course. So I flip out. I'm crying. My daughters are crying. And I blurt out that, oh, my God, I can't do this without him. And as soon as I said those words, I said to myself, I have to do this now. I have to be the father and the mother now. This is it. I just got to step up, and that's it. So that's what I did. I became mom and dad. Like, at that moment, I decided I'm it, and I had to be. I'm still mom and dad, too, by the way. But after that, we just went to memorials, and it was an awful time. Just constantly, all my friends that had lost their husbands, not just the girls in Rescue 5. There was 10, 11 of us all together, but other people we knew from other firehouses. My husband worked in firehouses in Brooklyn and Manhattan, so I knew a lot of these people. So I spent most of my time going to memorials. And I wasn't working. I still wasn't working. My one daughter, my older daughter, had gone back to school after about 2 months, maybe less, maybe 6 weeks. But she had a lot of friends in this school. She was in this school for 2 years already. My other daughter, the younger one, she was only in school for 1 day. This happened on her second day of school. She really didn't know anyone. She couldn't go back to school. So I'm not working. I'm staying with her and trying to figure out how we got to get back to some kind of normal life. But I don't think I could work at this point. I just couldn't concentrate. And, my job is very detail-oriented. I had to concentrate. And but the holidays went by. She's still not going to school. I'm still not working. And now we're getting into January. And I said to my daughter, Marissa, you have to go back to school. Yeah, you're going to be a freshman when all your friends are sophomores next year. You're not going to like that. And she, now she's 14, little hand on the hip, and she said, well, you're not working, so why should I go to school? I called my job, like right then. I said, can I come back to work tomorrow? They said, sure. I went back to work the next day. She went back to school. Now, I'm not saying everything was great after that, because it wasn't, but it was a start. It was a start. Now, I want to tell you, go back to September 12th. Now, September 12th, the guy that I was engaged to, I had been friends with this family all along, and my kids basically had 3 sets of grandparents. The father of the guy I was engaged to comes to my door and knocks on the door, and I'm thinking he's going to say, oh, I heard Harvey was missing, but he said Tommy's missing. He had another son. He had a few sons, but he had another son who had nothing to do with 9/11. He had nothing to do with the Twin Towers, I should say. He was a businessman up on like 43rd Street, up in the 40s somewhere, and he was coming to work on the Staten Island Ferry with his wife. She worked in the city also, and one of his friends runs into him and says, don't forget, we have this special meeting, a big meeting. It's the North Tower today, don't forget. And Tommy said, oh, I forgot all about it. He goes to the meeting, he gets killed. So he was missing for 3 weeks, too. And then on September 12th, the good thing happened. My mother wakes up. She was in a coma for like 3 weeks. And she wakes up and woke up to the point that she was back to driving a car and working her volunteer jobs for 15 years. I mean, it was like a miracle. I guess she felt she couldn't leave me, I don't know, but she woke up. It was amazing. But, my kids are doing well. I actually got remarried again a few years ago, not to a fireman or a cop, but I did get remarried. I'm not doing that again. But one of my daughters works right over here, not too far, and the other daughter works on Staten Island, the hospital I used to work in. And I retired 3 years ago, which is so amazing for me. And that's my story. Thank you.